Welcome back everyone, Komakala here. This is Elite Dangerous, and as promised, this video I'm going to give you a brief look at the starport services, and then we're going to fly to another station and show how to dock at a different type of station. So let's go ahead and open up our starport services. You can use WASD to check things out. It is a good idea to be in the hangar while you're doing this, because if you want to go to the outfitting, where you can change what gears on your ship, you actually need to be in the hangar. And if you're on the surface, what will happen is it will move your ship down into the hangar, and you'll have sort of like a loading screen. It's not that big of a deal. I'll show you. Anyway, let's go ahead and, well, don't really want to spend any money on anything, but we should refuel. It's only 10 credits, but I only have, well, I had 1,000, now I have 990 credits. Repairs, as you can see, we do have a mouse in here. Repairs allows you to go in here and obviously repair your ship. For some reason, you can't quite repair the last 10 credits worth. And I don't know why. It seems to be a bug, but it's not a pressing bug. Bulletin board, you can go here to get various different jobs for different factions. So let's take a quick look at this. Looks like we can only get one job right now. Reliable agents required for sensitive delivery work. And usually what this means is they'll give you a package. You have to fly it from point A to point B. And the company offering the position or the job is LHS 3447 Dynamic and Company. This is the group that you'll gain rep with when you complete this task. Now if we hit 4, we can look over here at our reputation screen. This tells us everyone that is in this system. You'll see we've got our reputation with the Federation, reputation with the Empire, and reputation with the Alliance. These are 3 different factions that occupy known space. But if we go ahead and scroll down using S, we can see the factions that are actually in this solar system. So the future of LHS 3447, they appear to be the company in control. Then you have LHS 3447 Company. They're an independent. They're not actually allied with the Federation. Then you have the Freedom Party of LHS 3447. These sound like they could be pirates, maybe. Though they may not be. They could be just another independent. This cartel is a pirate fleet. And then you scroll down a little bit more and you've got LHS 3447 Dynamic and Company. This is another Federation allied group. And so if you were to actually do this job right here, and this is random, you get different jobs that are randomly assigned. But if you were to do this job, you would gain reputation with both the Federation and this LHS 3447 Dynamic Company. Though your Federation rep is earned very, very slowly in compared to the others. Contacts, these are different people that you need to talk to. In the security office, you can pay any fines that you may have. So if you accidentally shoot somebody, if you're speeding near a populated area, you can get a fine there. Bounties, if you're a bounty hunter and you kill some wanted ships, you'll earn a bounty voucher, and you can come in and turn these in. My opinion, this is actually a pretty lucrative way to earn your money. It starts out a little bit slow, but as you get into more powerful ships, you can make some bank pretty quick. Trading is a little bit faster, but it's more boring. It's sort of trucking back and forth between different solar systems, and it gets really monotonous, in my opinion. Some people love it. Some people love the logistics of looking for the best deals, buy low, sell high, that kind of thing. Trade dividends, I'm not sure how this works because I didn't do a lot of trading. I'm sorry. I'm sure there's some other people that have done a ton of trading and can tell you exactly what this does. I knew at one point, but I haven't played this in several months, and so I don't remember. Combat bonds. These are kind of like bounties, except when you're in certain systems, they're going to have conflict zones. And a conflict zone is sort of like a war zone between two different factions. And when you fly into that zone, you can join the fight and pick which faction you're going to be earning rep with. And as you kill enemies in that zone, they're against the faction that you pick aside, you'll earn combat bonds, and then you can return to a station that that faction is a member of and turn in your combat bonds and earn some money that way. I've done a little bit of it. One of the things, you don't want to really do it in your beginning ship. It's a little rough because a lot of the ships have really, really heavy armor, and your starting lasers do not get through the armor very well. Outfitting. As I told you, this is where you can check out your ship. This is the starter ship, so I've just got some pulse lasers. These are fixed lasers, which means they fire straight ahead of you. You have to point the nose of your ship where you want to shoot. We've got several utility mounts. I don't really have enough money to purchase anything. And as you can see, everything that I own is loaned to me. And I'll have to eventually make the money to buy any replacement parts. And we do have a cargo rack, but it can only hold 4 items. Livery, this is where you can buy for real world money different things like paint jobs. You can buy decals and some of this stuff. I don't have any that I've purchased, so I can't show you that aspect of the game. Universal cartographies. This game also allows you to earn money and gain rank by exploring the solar system. You can do it in your starter ship, though you'll probably need to outfit it with a couple different things. And I'll go into that later in another video. But basically what you'll do is you'll fly into a system that you don't know, that you haven't explored. And sometimes you'll find systems that nobody has ever explored. And what you'll do is you'll actually fly around to the different planets, different asteroid belts and different things, and scan them. And then once you get scanned information on it, you travel to a solar system that's 20 light years away, 20 light years or more, and you can sell what your records, what you've scanned. Right now, I think scanning is broken. There's been a warning on Galnet, which is the Galactic News, basically the forums for the game, saying that you shouldn't be doing any exploring. Now, this might be fixed already by now, and I just haven't saw. But last night, October 9th, they were having some problems with the exploration server, and you could explore, I think, but I don't think you should turn anything in because you may not actually get that money. I'm not sure exactly what the issue is. I'm just sort of speculating here. Anyway, the further away that you go from where you did your scanning, so let's say you scan a solar system and then you fly 20 light years away, they may pay you like 5,000 credits for the maps that you've made. But if you fly 100 light years away, they may be more likely to pay you like 50,000 credits for the star charts that you've drawn up, because they're further away and they don't know as much about the system. And so that's one of the things you want to kind of weigh as you're doing your exploration. You want to try and travel as far away as you can to turn in some of this stuff, and you can make major bank. I've made somewhere around 3 or 4 million credits just flying around exploring stuff, and it was fun. It gets a little boring after a while, but it is a very viable way to make money. Like I said, my preferred method is actually bounty hunting, and goodness, we're already at 10 minutes. I'm sorry, I think I'm going to actually cut this video short here, or I'll go over the UI a little bit more. There's some more things that I haven't covered. And then the next video we're actually going to show docking at another space station. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at some of the UI features, starting with screen 1. Navigation. These show you all sorts of different things. You can look at your galaxy map, and this shows you all the different stars. And if you zoom all the way out, yep, we're on that little arm of the Milky Way galaxy. I think it's the Milky Way. I'm pretty sure it's the Milky Way. And anyway, so you can fly pretty much wherever. The furthest I've flown is like 500 and some light years away from my starting location. So I've come down into I tried to make my way down to the Witch Head Nebula, and it took me a very, very long time. I didn't actually make it there. I grew bored before I got there and turned around. But you do need a fuel scoop if you're going to be doing long distance exploration like that, and it's fairly easy to get one of those. They're not too expensive. Let's see, what else? You also have your system map, which shows you just the system that you're in. And so you can tell that the system that we're in is actually has two different suns, and we're actually at, which station are we? I want to say we're at this station over here. No, we're not at Lawson Orbital. Here we are. We're at Dravithic Dock, and I'm considering flying to one of these other, either Woolridge or Yapping. Yapping is a little bit closer, but you can see all the different planets. You can see asteroid belts that orbit these places. Gas giants, especially the ones with the rings, quite often they have resource extraction points, and you can do mining there, or you can actually go in there and do bounty hunting or in the rings around the gas giants, and I'll probably show you that a little bit later. Let's see, what else do we have? Icons, to give you an idea of what these different things represent. So here we've got this location, and this is a star, LHS 3447. This is the primary star in the system. If we scroll far enough down, Gliese 7482b. This is actually the secondary star in the system. I think Gliese is the one that you actually warp into, and then you have to fly 110 light seconds over to these other docks where other stuff is going on. So see right here, we've got a conflict zone, high intensity. There's a war going on. You can pick a faction and fight there. Low intensity is going to be a little bit lower intensity. There's not going to be as many ships there. There's not going to be as much fighting. I find it's a little bit easier to hide in the high intensity zones because you can fight in there and there aren't going to be as many people trying to target you. Low intensity, you get spotted really quick, and a lot of people will be like, oh, hey, there's an enemy, and you'll get swarmed pretty easily. I didn't have as many problems with that in the high intensity zones. This little circle right here, this means that this is the planet. This is a orbital station, and so each one that's indented, so this planet is indented underneath this star, so that means this planet is actually orbiting this star. This space station is orbiting this planet. These conflict zones are also around the planet. Here's another planet that happens to be orbiting this star, and another space station that's orbiting that planet. And you'll see it's 56 light seconds away. More planets, more stations. These are asteroid belts. Another space station. Another space station. And yeah, I think that's it for most of the icons that you need to know. Circles are the planets. These little rocks are the asteroid belts, and these are stars. Transactions. On this screen, you can see any fines that you have that are outstanding, if you have a wanted level or not. You can also check and see if you have any bounties or combat bonds that you have earned and are waiting to be turned in. Over here under contacts, these are contacts that happen to be within a certain close distance of you. So sensor range, I think, is 6 kilometers or something. And you can get stronger sensors that allow you to see a little bit further out, but still it sort of tops out at around 7 to 8 kilometers. Though you can see space stations from a lot further off than you can see actual ships. And so you can actually look around, you can hit spacebar to lock your target, you can request docking, which we can't do because we're actually docked in this station right now. You've got an Eagle, it's another type of ship. If you get close enough, you can scan it and see different things. You can see that we've got sub-targets. Now when you have a ship targeted, you can switch over to sub-targets, and if you scan them, you'll see what different subsystems they have. And you can select a subsystem to target that subsystem. So let's say you want to target a ship and you want to target their power plant and try to only shoot the power plant. In your sub-targets, you can select what subsystem.
Charge detected.
The ship is jumping out. It's entering supercruise. So, and it's left behind a wake. If you have certain equipment, you can actually scan the wake and then chase after them. But I don't have the equipment. Anyway, so you can select, under the sub-targets, you can select what subsystem you want to attack. And if you have a cargo scanner, you can scan and see what kind of cargo they're carrying. And this works well if you're going to be like a pirate. You can scan their cargo and decide whether or not you want to attack them and gain any of the illegal goods. Because once you hijack somebody and they drop their cargo, it becomes illegal to pick it up, and you can gain a wanted level if a police officer or some other security force scans your ship. Alright, so over here on the right hand panel we've got several things to look at. Before we do that, just a little bit to the left of this you'll see fuel, and the number 0.00 per hour is how much fuel you're using per hour. The bars underneath it is how full your fuel tank is. Mass locked, the blue light means that it's on. The orange square that you see down below means that it's off. Mass locked means that you're too close to a large body, like an asteroid belt, or a planet, or a space station. You're not going to be able to enter supercruise if you're within a certain distance. And I think these smaller space stations, you can't enter supercruise if you're within 2.75 kilometers. That number may change. At one point it was like 5 kilometers. Now for these littler stations you can be a little bit closer to them before you actually enter into the mass lock. Landing gear blue, landing gear's down naturally because we're actually landed on the ground right now. Now let's go ahead and look over here on the right hand screen. Combat rank, you earn this by killing other ships. And you can rank all the way up from harmless, where I'm at right now, all the way up to elite. Trade rank, you do this by trading and selling goods. Explorer rank, exploring. CQC, there's a CQC arena, close quarters combat arena, and you can level up by doing that stuff. It's PvP, not really something I'd be interested in. Underneath that you have balance, 990 credits. That's how much money I have. Rebuy cost, this is if your ship is destroyed, how much will it cost to replace it? Since this is a starter ship and the starter gear, it's free to replace. Local bounty is what bounty do you have in the system? Are you wanted in the local system? And local rep is what's your reputation in the local system. We already went over reputation over here on the right hand side. We can hit A and D to cycle through these. System status, this lets you know who has the most rep in the different areas. And so it looks like right now LHS 3447 Dynamic and Company is actually the highest rep in the region, followed by this independent party, but they're losing rep right now. And yeah, so this whole area is under a civil war. That's why we're getting the conflict zones. And if you were to go out there and help in the conflict zones, I could help sway who wins in the civil war. Finances, this is your balance again. Insurance, if you You can't purchase it right now, I don't think, insurance on your cargo. And ship insurance, you're always at 95% ship insurance. So if I were to buy a new ship, like my Vulture that I had, was worth, I want to say, 60 million or something, but the rebuy cost for it was fairly cheap. I want to say it was 600 or 700,000 credits. Seems like a lot at this point in time, but that's actually a pretty reasonable rebuy cost. Statistics. This is a list of all the statistics that you've done as you've played the game. Since I reset the game, everything is pretty much zeroed out. Permits. There are certain regions and certain solar systems that require a permit to actually enter them. Some stations require a permit to land at them. And again, just starting out, I don't have any of these permits. Modules. These are different modules that are in your ship. You can actually turn them off by selecting them and then hitting the spacebar.
Shields offline.
So I've turned off everything except for my power plant. You cannot turn off your power plant. And if we were to enable everything again, thrusters are your basic engine. They basically make your ship go. If you turn them off, you're dead in the water. You're not able to fly around. Shield generator obviously generates your shields. Cargo hatch, you really don't need to worry about this. If you're carrying cargo, you do need to worry about it, because if this takes a lot of damage, it can actually pop open and drop all your cargo. You can assign, using A and D, you can assign the priority of different things. So if, let's say that we never want our thrusters to shut down, or we want them to be the very last thing to shut down, we can actually assign them a priority of 1. And if you look at the bottom of the screen, everything that has a priority of 2, if the power plant is damaged and that line of output line drops below the line for the end of usage number 2, if that line were to drop below 2, then it would start shutting off systems in the priority group of 2 to maintain power for number 1 systems, so primary systems. And so we could have life support also be a primary system. And frame shift drive if we needed it to. And by doing this, it allows us to still fly and escape even if we've lost half of our power. Alright, and so this is pretty useful. And also when you're trying to do some stealthy rogue sneaking, you can actually disable different things. And like your shield generator, it puts out a lot of heat, and I think heat is how sensors work in this game. So if you turn off your shield generator, it's almost like you're in stealth mode. Not quite, but similar. Fire groups, this is where you can assign your weapons to different things. So we've got fire group right here. Every time you left click or press the primary fire button, it activates these different things. So if I wanted to, now right clicking will fire my pulse lasers, left clicking will activate my basic discovery scanner. I don't want that, so let's go ahead and set it back to 1. If you want to add another fire group, you could. And do that. And then I think it's N cycles between the different fire groups. But I don't need an extra fire group because I've only got 3 things and I can activate them all at once if I need to. Cargo, if you have a refinery module, this will allow you to actually do some mining and refine the ore that you collect and turn it into actual cargo that you can sell at a space station. Finally, functions. Right here, faction. This allows you to pick a faction when you're in a conflict zone. You can deploy or retract your landing gear. deploy or retract your cargo scoop. There's also buttons that do this, like L is for landing gear, home is for your cargo scoop, beacon. I've never done anything with this. I think the beacon is so that your wingmates can find you. Silent running.
Silent running.
This disables
Shields offline.
a lot of things, and it actually closes vents on your ship, so your ship doesn't put out as much heat. The downside to this is the heat is stored inside your ship, and it can cause your ship to overheat if you do too many things. Like if you're still running your thrusters, it can cause your the heat that your engines are putting out are being trapped inside your ship, and it can cause your ship to overheat eventually.
Thermal signature restored.
Ship lights, these are some lights that are at the front of your ship. I use them from time to time. The hotkey for that, the default, is insert. This will allow you to turn on your lights. Sometimes they're useful in landing. Sometimes they're helpful in asteroid belts, flying around and it's really dark. Flight assist. Flight assist assists. It's the computer helps assist your flying. If you're thrusting in one direction and release the button, flight assist will actually thrust in the opposite direction until it returns your thrust, your total thrust, to a neutral number. Rotational correction, you can turn this off and on. I leave it on.
Rotational correction enabled.
If you have turrets, you can say how they behave, so they can always fire forward, and so they'll behave sort of like a fixed weapon. You can set them to, but you have to be actually out in space to change this, I think. You can also set them to shoot at your current target. You can set them to shoot at hostiles. You can set them to shoot at whatever they want. And that's kind of risky because you can accidentally pull a whole bunch of enemies and get yourself in trouble. Pre-flight checks. I prefer this being off. What this does is it runs through a series of pre-flight checks where you have to push the different buttons for the different controls to familiarize yourself with your flight controls. And I recommend doing this for the first few times until you are comfortable with the controls of the game. Report crimes against me. If you're in a system that's owned by, say, the Federation or the Empire or the Alliance, and somebody were to shoot you, this reports the crime to the police, and they'll come in and they'll attack the person. If you're playing solo, it's fine to leave this on. If you're playing with other players, you'll probably want to turn it off because stray shots, just a single stray shot, can earn them a wanted level, and it's quite a pain in the butt. Orbit lines. This displays orbit lines on your HUD, your heads-up display, and orbit lines are the lines that, like a planet orbiting the sun, you'll see a line that gives the basic path that it'll be following. So you can turn these off if you want a little bit more realism. You have your interface brightness, so you can dim it down a little bit if you want. I think that's about good for me. Might want, I don't know. Gun sight, leading or trailing, and I've never really found a need for the trailing. I'm not sure why you would want that. Leading, when you're firing a weapon that has a travel time, like your beam lasers or your different laser types are almost instantaneous because they travel at the speed of light. But let's say that you have a multi-cannon or a cannon, those ballistics actually have a travel time, and so the leading gun sight mode will actually cause the area that you aim at to lead your target. And so if you aim at the leading gun sight and you're shooting right in the middle of it, all your shots should hit the target because they'll fly into your bullets. Sensor scale type, you have linear and logarithmic. I'd never changed this. I don't really know the difference. I've read a long time ago what the difference is between the two. And reboot repair, if your systems are severely damaged and you have, there's a utility slot, I think it is, that you can get that will actually try to repair a subsystem. And if you've got one of those enabled and on your ship, you can hit reboot repair and it'll try to repair one of the subsystems on your ship that's damaged. And so you can run through this really quick. though you don't want to use it in a firefight because it leaves you completely defenseless. It turns off your shields, turns off your thrusters. It basically powers down the entire ship, and you're on life support while it runs through the repair process. And once everything turns back on, your life support does not regenerate until you land at a space station. So that's kind of a pain in the butt. You want to be careful with it. And self-destruct, if you were to run out of fuel somewhere and you don't have a fuel scoop, you're out of luck. You have to destruct your ship. I've heard suggestions, rumors that there may be a towing service that you can pay to tow you back to a station, but as of right now, that doesn't exist. And so if you get stranded, you have to self-destruct. Anyway, I'm sorry, this is crazy long. It's half an hour video, and this is a really in-depth over the user interface. Probably a little bit more in-depth than you guys really cared to know, but some of these features you do need to know about, especially as you go through playing the game. Next video, I will be showing you how to take off from a station and dock at a different type of station. I told you it's a station with a slot. You have to fly through the slot. A lot of people have had difficulty figuring out where the slot is actually located and difficulty in actually landing in these stations. I've discovered a few tips and tricks, and I'll share them with you in the next video. I'll see you guys later. Bye.